Hello and good afternoon, everyone. The panel members, the audience. I am Dr. S. Vairamani, the Department Head, Department of Physical Education and Sport, Dr.M.G.R. Educational Research Institute, Chennai. And this seminar about this inculcation of human values and ethics is about to start now. I welcome you all for that. Now, may I have the pleasure of requesting Dr. P. Udayagala Madam, HOD Department of Chemistry, and the Director IQAC to give a welcome address to all. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all the participants. It's a very nice topic wherein Dr. Vairamani have been given this under this UGC task. See, when this UGC has assigned us this task, we have been thinking, our team was deciding to whom we can give. So our team suggested unanimously one name, Dr. Vairamani. Why? Because the values cannot be spoken by anyone. One who's following only can speak. So in that case, I think Dr. Vairamani has brought us today Dr. Raviram Mohan. So on behalf of our management, internal quality assurance cell, with academic staff college, with physical education and sports department, welcome Dr. Raviram Mohan for this program. And I'm sure that he will transform all from human being to a divine being. We had an interaction just few minutes ago, and I heard he is more spiritual too. So a spiritual person speaking human values, sure he can transform all human being into a divine being. Sir, we once again welcome you to give a very high enlightened speech to our faculty members. Welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Udayagala Madam. Now, may I request Dr. Mahalingam to make known the guest to everyone with his profile and achievements. Dr. Mahalingam, please.
Thank you, sir. Very good afternoon to all. I am very pleased to introduce our resource person, Mr. Raviram Mohan.G, Regional Director, South Asia and Middle East Operations, Global Green International, Singapore. Just let us see about his educational qualifications. He did his schooling in Kendriya Vidyalaya at Karaikudi. He was a student of Dr. S. Vairamani, Professor and Head and Product of Kendriya Vidyalaya, Karaikudi. He did his BE Mechanical Engineering in Alagappa Chettiar College of Engineering and Technology, Karaikudi, in 1984 to 1988, and ME Mechanical Heat and Power Engineering in Birla Institute of Technology in 1990 to 1991. Let us move on to his career achievement. Raviram leads Global Green International's Waste to Energy initiatives for South Asia and the Middle Eastern markets. He has worked in United States and United States and East and India, and comes over 25 years of experience in green energy initiatives, United States healthcare practice, banking sector, financial services and insurance, technology consulting, global wholesale distributions, logistics, terminal automations, bulk oil, gas and chemical distributions, aerospace, semiconductor products, pharmaceuticals, pharmacy industries, e-commerce, and then security services and supply chain management and many more. He has secured a lot of achievements, but he is very simple person and he is kind-hearted and he is very respectful. It is my privilege to me to introduce him as a resource person today. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dr. Mahalingam. Now, may I have the pleasure of requesting Mr. Raviram Mohan to address his speech.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Respected senior members of Dr.M.G.R. Educational and Research Institute, the chairperson of today's event, Dr. Vaidamani sir, Dr. Mahalingam, Dr. Udayakala madam, Dr. Sridevi, and Dr. Ganesan, and everybody else in the faculty, members of the audience who have come here today and joined us digitally. I'm very, very profoundly thankful for giving me this opportunity. And the topic that has been given to me to speak is about inculcation of the human values and ethics. And it is to be in higher educational institutions, or for that matter, anywhere else. And when this topic was given to me initially, I was first contemplating, am I the right person to speak about this? And if I am, what is it that I need to speak about? And if we all look at our normal approach to life, there are various things that we think about right from the time that we get up from the bed through to all the work that we do and everything that life brings us, towards us, and how we all need to approach the best that we can under the circumstances. So then I thought I should speak genuinely from my heart, from my mind, and not prepare a script that I could read and kind of read it out to everybody here. So I've just prepared some pointers based on how life has transformed me, my family, and the people around. And I thought, why not I share some of these things with all of you? And perhaps you might resonate with whatever is happening, in all of this, and you might find some common denomination in whatever we are trying to pursue today. And I must specifically thank the Internal Quality Assurance Department of this institute. It's a very beautiful term called internal quality assurance, right? Just like an institute has got this IQC, the Internal Quality Assurance, and the Department of Physical Education and Sports, we as human beings too also have our internal quality assurance, and also our own physical and mental department within us as human beings, right? So this constantly we are looking upon how we need to improve upon ourselves, how we need to grow to be better human beings. What are those traits, what are those habits that have reinforced our belief system in order to sustain that habit, or perhaps change to make us an improved version of who we are, right? So having stated this, I certainly believe that our meeting today is not an accident. Certainly not an accident. It has been pre-planned with the thoughts of all of us who have come together. In some form or the other, we've all been thinking about this over a period of time in order to improve ourselves. So this collective knowledge or the wisdom today that we are going to share and exchange is what perhaps is my quest of submission to all of you here. And I want to take every one of your permission to read out one specific message that I really like, which has constantly been resonating in me, and it only reinforces my belief system. And I want to make sure that you also feel good when you listen to this, because it's going to invoke something different than what we have all perceived so far. Here I go. Each person comes into this world with a specific destiny. He or she has something to fulfill, some message has to be delivered, some work has to be completed. You're not here accidentally. You are here meaningfully. There's a purpose behind you. The whole world intends to do something through you. Okay, let me read that out again. Each person comes into this world with a specific destiny. He or she has something to fulfill. Some message has to be delivered. Some work has to be completed. You are not here accidentally. You are here meaningfully. There's a purpose behind you. The whole world intends to do something through you. When you see this message and how profound that is, it just gives a whole perspective of why we are all here today. That means the world has an intention for each one of us to do something as a greater good for the people at large. Okay? So with that as the basis, let's now come to the topic, ethics and human values. Now, when we talk about ethics, ethics is about moral principles that govern a person's behavior when conducting an activity, right? This is very simple, you know. That's what ethics is all about. It's about the moral principles, how we conduct ourselves when we are performing a particular activity, right? Now, oftentimes, the first thing that comes to us is a negative side of things when we talk about ethics. You know, let me give you an example. When we are asked to write an exam, the first thing that comes to our mind is when we talk about ethics is, you know, how genuinely we are approaching to write that specific subject. What are our intentions behind our preparation? You know, if the question paper happens to be good or bad, or it's not to our liking, then what are the odds that we are going to stick to our moral principles? That's one example. A doctor ordering certain tests when we go to him or her for an ailment, how genuinely those tests are required for an assessment. Or for that matter, when we are canceling an airline ticket or a train ticket, the refund rules that govern the money that's coming back to us. Or the ration shop where people stand in the line to get what they're eligible to get, right? So look at these examples. Or for that matter, when we think about the positive side of things, people who uplift or care, or the NGOs that come into play when there's a flood or an earthquake or a landslide. What are these ethics that speak about people and their behavior when they're trying to help somebody? So that is we call as ethics. Now, let's look at what are these human values. The values could be anything for anybody. You know, these are the values of an individual are how he or she wishes to subscribe as their own standard of living, right? So these are values that we have created for our own self. This is what we subscribe to on a day-to-day basis as our standards of living. And this is what is good for one person may not be good for the other. So that means the value system is a dynamic behavior. So the bad that we perceive is somebody else's good, or vice versa. Similarly, when you look at people from different countries, they have different attributes about human values. It is based on their cultural upbringing, right? So our behavior will be different than a person of another country. That's because of their upbringing in their own cultural values. So what we perceive to be bad might be somebody else's good, and vice versa, which is what this human values is all about. So what is going to happen because of this? That means the standards of living that we are subscribing to has got implications. The outcome of our life depends on these standards that we have defined for ourselves and that we subscribe to. So that is the bottom line. So, which means the way we operate, we behave, we conduct ourselves, the outcomes are also going to translate based on that. So that's a very important element that I have learned and I'm continuing to learn. Now, let us look at a point where when we change these core subscriptions of life, how does this change our outcome, or does it change the outcome? And I can certainly tell you from my experience, as we go along on this everyday quest of understanding life, the subscribed values that we are today, when we change, our outcomes also change. So what are these values? Do we know them? How difficult are they to learn? What if we forget after having learned? These are some of the questions that might be lingering in our mind, right? So what are these values? Yeah, maybe can I learn at this age? What age is appropriate? We'll get to answer all this in a moment. Let's understand in a very simple equation, ethics and human values is equal to mindful living. That means our ethics and our values define our mindful living. What is this mindful living? These are all terms that are coined, perhaps for our easy understanding. I've kind of put these pointers together for us to understand the insights of what these core subscriptions of life are going to be and why this is going to be a mindful living for all of us. The first, as part of that mindful living, is to understand that our inner perception is always equal to our outer reality. It's a very powerful statement. Our inner perception is always equal to the outer reality. Perhaps we would have seen that there's a saying in English somewhere. It says, face is the index of the mind, right? So that is what it is all about. If you're happy, the world around you is happy. If you're sad, you will see everything that's sad. So your inner perception is equal to the outer reality. So if we have to be true to ourselves, we need to know what are those attributes within us that we need to be constantly reinforcing that we don't want to change, and what are those attributes that we perhaps need to change that would give us the outcomes that we are desiring. So that means we want to find out what is our true identity that reflects with our consciousness. All right. Now, when you look at all this, I want all of you to go back to think how you were when you were first born. here you are, the first time you have entered into this earth. The first things that really happened to us is we started crying, right? We started crying. We didn't know what it was. We've come into the strange world. We do not know who everybody is, what has happened to us, how things are going to be. So everything is kind of unknown. And yet we're getting into this whole new world of ours where our parents are holding us, giving us the unconditional love. The unconditionality is never questioned. They know that we are who we are as an infant. We cry when we need to cry. We do not know for what. They perhaps might be thinking that we are hungry, so they feed us. We are sleeping when we need to sleep for about 18 hours or 20 hours a day. We do not know how our life is going to shape, right? So we're totally unconditioned. And then slowly but surely, everybody comes into our life in saying, this is what it is, this is good, this is bad, this is how you stand, this is how you sit. And so now you see how everybody influences our mind in shaping ourselves to be who we are, right? So this is the ground reality from a pristine soul that we have been. We have now been touched by several people in our life, constantly reinforcing our beliefs, our mindset, our thoughts, and the way we need to act and behave, right? So as part of that, we see success, we see failures, we see happy moments, we also see some sad moments. So is that under our control? Is that something that we can perhaps change in terms of behavior or in terms of the intensity that we all can subscribe? Perhaps so. There is. So having stated, let us look at what these life subscriptions are, right? So and because it is extempore, oftentimes I'm reflecting upon myself, trying to see whether there's a way that I can present this for the audience so that it makes an easy understanding. And all this is coming from within, and when I say it is from within, I should also qualify that it is also the higher intelligence that's making me realize that I'm translating as whatever are your feelings that are also trying to come out from your own self to the outside world, right? So therefore, let us look at what these life subscriptions are and how they're going to impact or change our inner perceptions. And the first point that comes to me as part of this is a word called commitment. Commitment is a very, very powerful word. And I'll tell you why. In all of the life lessons, we hear so much about several other attributes which are also equally important. We hear several behavioral attributes like hard work, persistence, perseverance, patience. All that is important. But this single word called commitment is very, very important. And let's understand what this commitment is. And I'll tell you how I understood commitment to be. A commitment is offering our time, our resources, and our energy with an intention to do the best every time, irrespective of the outcome or seasonal failures. Okay. I hope you caught that message of mine. Commitment is offering our time, resources, and energy with an intention to do the best every time, irrespective of outcome or seasonal failures. It's a very, very powerful word. And I'll tell you why this is so important. And I'm going to give you an example that probably is going to make you very emotional. I'm going to give the name of that individual in our life, constantly bringing that commitment to our as a reminder for us. None other than our mother, a human being, a human soul, who will touch us at every point of time. When you understand commitment, it is offering our time, resource, and energy with an intention to do the best every time, irrespective of outcome or seasonal failure. There cannot be a better example than this. A mother is a personification of commitment. It doesn't matter whether we have rice at home or grains at home, the food at home. It is absolutely phenomenal. The way the person can put something together to make things happen. And every time this individual creates nothing but success, irrespective of how many minds that people are. You know, we could be brothers, we could be sisters, we could be siblings, all sitting together, each one having various tastes, various likings for the habits. But mother can fulfill everybody's desires, whether she gets the sleep, she gets her own rest, whether there are resources available, there is money available. Every time the expectation is 100%, and her success is also 100%. There's one more human being that we all have to understand who personifies this word commitment. That person is a farmer. A farmer is also offering his time, his resources, and energy. And he does nothing but, his intention is always to do the best every time, irrespective of outcome or seasonal failure. Whether there's going to be flood, there's going to be rain, whether there's going to be drought, his effort has to be the same. It has to be 100% dedicated. It cannot be anything different. So if there's a food on our plate today, you know where that commitment is coming from. You know, it's very, very important. These are two people that will always teach us something in life that we always need to reflect upon and say in any task, in any work that we do, is there a commitment? When we have that commitment, everything else like the hard work, persistence, perseverance, patience, all that will come. But are we committed? Right? Now, let's look at the next strata of people who have given us their life examples. The name under which this institution is named Dr.M.G.R, or for that matter, our ex-president, President Abdul Kalam. Right? These are people who have given their commitment to the welfare or the greater good of the community. Right? Just like the farmers, just like the mothers, there are these human beings who have lived, offered their time, resources, and energy for the greater good of everyone else. So when we offer our commitment will always do greater good for the community. And that should be our intent. So a commitment is never about an individual. It's never about one single soul. A commitment is always about what is going to be the outcome for the greater good at large. Let's look at some more examples. of what commitment could personify for different people. And I'm going to here take some of the examples of people like MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma or Mary Kom or Ratan Tata or Anand Mahendra. Different set of individuals, different people, their levels of commitment is for a particular purpose. Now, when you look at their way of approaching a commitment, now each one of us can approach it based on what our domain is. If we are studying, our commitments are different. If we are working, our commitments are different. If we are doing something else, our commitments are obviously going to be different. If we are in a family, our commitments are going to be different. So now look at the people that I just mentioned, Dhoni or Kohli or Mary Kom or Ratan Tata. They're all people who have taken commitment as a primary goal for themselves to reflect upon the greater good of the audience that they're trying to address. So they have seen success and failures come in their life. But when you know that last ball of a match requires a 6, you know what that commitment is going to be. When you know that Ratan Tata ji or Anand Mahendra ji is investing in the startups where the brains are in their 20s, they're not trying to gain money or fame. They're trying to do their greater good for the community at large. That's the commitment that they are trying to give, right? So we will always be remembered for who we are, whether we are alive or beyond, based on this commitment. It's a very, very powerful message. And I'm so touched when I talk about this. It gives us goosebumps when we try to reflect in everything that we try to do and see that whether we are committed to doing our best. It doesn't matter whether we are successful or failure. Have we done our best that we can, when we sleep on our beds, can we sleep at peace? That is what is extremely important. Right? Wow. Let's look at a second trait, a second life subscription. Awareness. The word awareness is another life subscription. And this is how I defined awareness. It's my own definition. It's not that I've referred to a dictionary on it or anything like that. It's based on my life experience that I've defined awareness to be a limitless influencer to our world of endless possibilities through acceptance. Okay, so how have I defined awareness? It's a limitless influencer to our world of endless possibilities through acceptance. Right? So what is this awareness through acceptance? It is acceptance to change our inside perception to sync with the outside reality. Acceptance is a change of our inner perception to sync with the outer reality. So let us look at this. A simple observation of our facts, of our thoughts, of the events around and within and outside us that can perhaps get straight to the answers that we have been probably seeking. So when you look at our mind, it is like a pendulum. It either goes backwards to our life and say, oh my God, I did all this, or I should have done that, or I wish I had this, that I can probably do all that I want to do. So it's like a pendulum. Our mind is like a pendulum. Now, when you look at what this awareness is going to bring, we need to freeze on the present moment where we are today. what is happening to us at this very moment. So when we are in that moment of silence, we start connecting with what is around us, what is perhaps happening around us. We start paying attention to the several little small things that are trying to give us a message. Now, if you let this pendulum keep on going, where can this thought lead us? The thoughts will lead us only into what our brains have already stored as our past messages or experiences. That's like our Wikipedia in the brain wiki. And then what starts to happen the moment we are trying to do something and we are trying to pursue an opportunity, when it is not getting realized, it's not getting manifested, our brain is going to get overpowered. It's going to find more and more cells to see if there are answers within us that we could seek. And if there's an answer based on our experience, it's going to throw it out and say, here is the answer, perhaps you should try, because that's what happened before. Now you will see that the moment it doesn't happen, the brain starts to say, you should come to terms now, because the answer is not from within, it's perhaps outside. The answer is somewhere outside, right? So that means the rumbling of our mind stops. And when we start telling our minds, enough of that rumbling, let me find an answer from outside, we are trying to tell our own self that the answer is to observe what is happening around us. So what then happens is, when you have come to the terms of awareness with acceptance, you are in a constant state of reminded observation of what is happening around you, what is manifesting. And there might be hints that might be coming. Whatever might be happening around you, there might be subtle hints, right? And as part of all this, one of the things that we need to remember when we are observing is we need to be unconditional in our approach to what is coming our way. And I'm going to give you an example out of my own life moments to resonate with this belief system in a moment. So when you look at awareness, which is our limitless influencer to our world of endless possibilities, through acceptance, and this acceptance, when it is unconditional, you are becoming more and more aware of what is coming your way. That means something that you have thought about as your desire, as your dreams, as your passion, as what you want to be able to achieve, is slowly beginning to take shape and coming to terms with you. That means you have calmed your mind. You are in that state of elevated awareness, right? I'll give you one example before I come to mine. Let's look at all of the people here. When we all went for our school or college admission, right? Our first intent was, where have we come into? We do not know how to get to that institute for a counseling process. We do not know who we are going to meet. We do not know what documents we need to submit, what questions we are going to be faced in the interview. Is our admission going to be based on the interview or the marks, or vice versa, or all of the above? How many levels of grading are there going to happen? Right, so all these uncertainties are going to be there. So the moment you go, you do not know which branch you wish to choose. You do not know whether you're qualified for that branch, or if it is not going to be available, is there a second branch that you want to choose? What are your options? So now imagine what your brain is going through, exactly what I described to you right now. The rumbling of the mind starts. when you become aware, the moment you go in there and you see all the strangers like you who have now today are your friends, you start becoming aware that, like me, there are several other people sitting in the line. I do not know whether I'm going to be qualified or not. I'm somewhere in the list. Let me see. So that means we have now become unconditional in our approach. Whatever might be, I'm willing to take that chance to secure that admission. Right? Now, are you able to sync this particular concept that I'm trying to teach? You will now know what your level of commitment is going to be as part of this process. So now think about yourself. Put yourself in this life subscription that you are in now, how committed you are going to be, what your awareness quotient is going to be, what level of acceptance is it going to be, how unconditional are you, right? Now you will see how this plays a vital role in shaping our lives when we are trying to approach everything that we are trying to do. And I'm going to share my life experience as part of this. Not that I've realized at that moment of time, but when I look back, it gave me a reinforcement that this is how I've manifested and come through. And I'm going to talk about an incident that happened to me when I was in the US. I was working for a Swedish company called International Business Systems. They were an IBM business partner. And I had moved in from the Middle East to the US. And I was a process engineer. I was a project manager in the Middle East, working in the aviation and oil and gas. And I've come to suddenly a software industry where everything is all about programming and coding, right? So, and I'm hired as a project manager for different domains. And I was hired because of the energy experience that that I kind of gained over the years. And the name of the organization where I was appointed as a project manager for that specific account is called Roland, Roland, Roland. I'm sure many of you are familiar. It's a music and entertainment company, Roland. When you see in an orchestra a synthesizer or a keyboard, look for this name. Or when you see an electric, the electric drums, see the specific name, Roland. And I was made as a project manager for the entire US implementation of their supply chain management and enterprise resource planning. When I was made the project manager, my senior project manager came to me and said, Ravi, you're now taking over the Roland account. And by the way, you are the 7th project manager in the last 6 months who have transitioned because the client didn't like anybody. So now you imagine what is going on in my mind, that I'm the 7th project manager in the span of 6 months that they've all been very unhappy about. And now I'm a new guy, I'm a new kid in the block in this company, and I'm the project manager. So here we are, the first session. This organization is based in Los Angeles, and we are based in Sacramento, the capital city of California. So I'm making this call along with my team to introduce that I've taken over this account. Right? So I'm calling the project manager on the other side, and I say, good afternoon, I'm so-and-so. I'm the new project manager who has taken over the Roland account. And believe me, the first statement that I got was, cut the crap. What is happening to our problems? When is it going to be resolved? This is how I was welcomed, right? So you imagine the first shock of my life that I got was, stop this, right? and people saying, when are our problems going to be addressed? It just took me as a real shocker. And I said, I'm not aware of what those issues are. And our reason is to understand what it is so that I can have a better way of dealing with your issues and see what I can do to help you out. He said, we have over 200 issues that have been lingering around for 6 months or more. Nobody ever bothered to take care of it. People didn't bother, and they're just literally billing us every month and taking the money. Nobody wants to do anything about it. And I said, where are those issues? If you can help me find, they're on your server. Please take a look. And I said, okay, fine. Let me take a look. He said, when is it going to be addressed? I said, I don't know, honestly, but I'm going to have a review with my team and I will come back to you. He said, that's not good enough for me. I need the answer now, this very moment. And I said, okay, let me take a blind guess. These are over 200 issues that are there. And what is it that I can do about it? So I said, let me take a guess of about 6 weeks to solve this problem. And the client really laughed at me and he said, what you could not solve in 6 months, you're trying to solve in 6 weeks? That's a joke. And I said, I'm just making a wild guess here. I do not know anything. I'm just going to say that this is my honest answer that I can perhaps give you, because I'm pinned to the wall right now, and this is the situation. And you're asking me to commit. And that's the only way that I can do, is to say a best case estimate. I do not know how far along I'm going to be successful or not. So he said, okay, what is going to happen if it's not going to happen in 6 months, if you're not going to solve the problem? And I said, I will quit this job. It's a big risk that I'm taking. I said, I will quit. He said, okay, it's a deal. And he just simply hung up. We never got an opportunity to listen to the people on either side. Right. So now I'm thinking, how am I going to solve this big, huge problem? And oftentimes, it's not in your brain to come up with those answers. You just have to remain calm and see what are my options and say that I do not know what I'm going to do. So when you say, I do not know, the world starts listening to you. The world will give you the answer. So I said, okay, let me make an attempt. So I took this bold initiative and I climbed upstairs to the building and knocked on the door of the president of the company. And the president of the company said, come in. And I went and I said, he asked me, who are you? And I said, I'm so-and-so. And I'm the new project manager who has taken the Roland account. Oh, that Roland, okay, it's a big problem company. It's a very tough client. I said, yes, that's what I wanted to let you know. If they wanted me to solve this problem, and they pinned me down to a commitment, and I said, I will do this in 6 weeks. So what the reaction of the president was, what is it that you want from me? I said, look, I'm the new person in this organization. I do not know what to do, who the best people are, who the resources are. Give me 25 best people who know in and out of this application. That's all I want. Don't want anything else beyond. He said, I don't know. So he immediately called the vice president of technology and said, look, there's somebody by the name of Ravi that I'm trying to send you. Please deal with him. So he said, okay, go and meet with Chris. He's there. He's the head of technology. He'll try and help you out. And I said, thank you very much. And he was sitting right next to the president. And I knocked on his door. And I said, here, this is the situation. And I need help. So Chris said, oh, it's very tough to get 25 people because we have so many things that are going on. I can't pull out 25 people. And I said, I can't do anything about it because it's our client. They are the people who are paying us the bread and butter. They're giving us the money. So we got to do something about this. If you can't do 25, what can you do? And I said, this is beyond me. You have given me a responsibility as a project manager. You also need to provide me with the resources that I need to be able to deliver. And I said, that's all it is. I'm just putting that as a wish list on your desk. See how best you can handle it. And I just left it there. That means I have put it across with my awareness that I'm seeking a solution. I just left it there and walked off. End of the day, I have 25 people made available for this particular project. And I was just so thankful. And I said, we all are going to be meeting tomorrow and see what is going to happen. And so next morning comes, we pull this list and say, here are these over 200 issues. When can you make this happen? And everyone says it's going to take 2 months, 3 months. I said, it's not going to happen. Think that this is an emergency situation. Tell me what is the best case scenario that can be possible. And the people say, at best, it's going to take about 8 weeks. And I say, I want this done in 3 weeks. No? And people literally laughed at me. And I said, how is this possible that it can happen in 3 weeks? I said, I don't know. I'm a process guy. I know what these issues are. I don't know how to code. I'm not a software guy sitting and trying to code on the computer. You know what to do. You know where those issues could be. I will help you define what could possibly be wrong in the process and see what you can do to address it. And I'm giving you 3 weeks to make it happen. Let's see, if you cannot do it, then we will revisit at the end of 3 weeks to see what else can happen beyond that. And I just left everybody to their openness to do what they have to do. Believe you me, the whole thing got accomplished in about 2.5 weeks. I was so shocked. The company was shocked. The resources everybody was working were all shocked. Don't ask me how it all happened. It just happened. Now look at these live subscriptions. And here is the interesting part, right? So as you're correlating with this example of mine with the live subscriptions, here is what had happened. So everything finished in about 2.5 weeks. I call the client and I say, I have an emergency situation. I need to talk to you. There's something serious that I want to communicate. And the client really panicked. Over 6 months, they've anyway been panicking. Now there is even more panic. So now you can see they dialed in, everybody is there on the table. And we say, we asked for 6 weeks. It's a tough proposition. Right? We have been doing our best to resolve all these issues. And all I can say is, we have an issue that we need to deal with. And the project manager on the other side said, what is it? You people have already upset us so much, and what is this new thing that is coming along? And I said, we have fixed all these issues and put the solution on your server. You have time for the next 4 to 5 days to come up and tell us if there is anything else that needs to be fixed for us to still stick to our commitment of 6 weeks to make sure things are on track as far as our deliverables are concerned. And your time starts now. It's not 6 months that you have given us. Your time starts now in the 4 to 5 days. Take that 4 to 5 days and come back to us so that we will have enough and more time to address it. And we just hung up the phone. We didn't say anything beyond that. That client, without my knowledge or our team's knowledge, wrote a letter to our president. And they said, We do not know where this person came from. The problems that were lingering for 6 months have been addressed in less than 3 weeks. This shows that there is something that can be done if you guys are committed, if you're aware of what is going on, and if you're willing to accept that what we were saying was true all along, that we have these issues. Okay. Now imagine where I'm coming from. These are coined terms. The awareness or the acceptance or the commitments are coined terms based out of our own life experiences that teach us how we need to pursue an opportunity and what we need to do when we are confronted with the issue, right? So, having stated this, just bear with me for a moment. There's an aircraft taking off because I stay close to the airport here. Just one moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, oftentimes you're confronted with, that's why when we observe, we have to accept certain things that are beyond us, right? So now let's look at how we see awareness in the eyes of the universe. All along, we have been seeing this awareness through our own set of eyes. Let's look at how the universe perceives the awareness from its side of things. You or me or all of us are probably one human genome, or probably one atom or an element for the universe. So if we think universe as a superhuman being, we are just one cell, right? So when we are one cell sitting in one part of the universe's body, we're all looking for the right cocoon of cells that are harmoniously aligned with us. If we are trying to function as a liver or a kidney or a stomach or whatever it is, we are trying to find the like-minded cells to harmoniously exist together, right? Now, when you look at same thing from our perspective, the human or the harmonious waves emanating from all of us are coming together for the greater good. So that means what is inside of us, when resonating with the outside world, is trying to manifest something greater. We do not know what it is. Perhaps it could be answers to what we are seeking, materialistically or otherwise, whatever might be the situation. So you will see this manifestation happen. And so that means the world is trying to connect all the like-minded people together in this level of awareness and acceptance. And that is what is resonating with all of us. And that's how we have come together today. We do not know from all this that we are going to gain what our next steps are going to be. But certainly the intention is going to be a greater good for all of us. And that's our wish. Now, having stated this, let us think about the traits of how this awareness and the acceptance need to be in what state of mind. Because mind is a very important element, and mind is influenced by our 5 senses: the eyes, the hearing, the ears, the nose which perceives the smell, the taste, and the human touch. The 5 senses which starts to influence our mind. So therefore, that means we are constantly being made aware of something about this pendulum or about the present state of mind, so which is called the different states of mind or the level of consciousness. let's look at what the levels of consciousness are going to be. So for people who have not understood these life subscriptions, for all those others, we're all in the normal state of consciousness. It's the normal everyday behavior of consciousness, right? Whether we are humans or we are animals or we are plants, we've all come into this world, and there's, at times we are aware, at times we're not aware. It's a normal life, probably praying for some luck to come into our life, right? So that's why we use this term quite often, all the best, all the very best, or good luck. So we're trying to say that it's a normal event, and perhaps some luck would give us that extra edge to be successful. So as a plant, what is the level of consciousness that it is going to be in? Or as a tree, that our branch should not be cut, or a flood or a hurricane or whatever it is should not, pull us down. That's probably the level of awareness that they are at, or probably even more that we do not know. So we should leave it for the world to decide. But as an animal, what is the level of consciousness that I should not be hunted down by a predator, right? So that's our level of consciousness. So as a deer, when we are drinking water from a lake or a pond, we're always constantly observing if there's a tiger or a lion trying to. So that means there is an awareness. And we're also of the acceptance that we always move in a herd, right? And we are in that state, you look at what is going to happen, right? So when you look at, that's the normal state of consciousness. Now, when you are in the next level of consciousness, which I have kind of coined it as the superconscious state that we are all in now. Why we are in superconscious state? Because our level of awareness has gone a little higher because of these life subscriptions. There's a level of acceptance, there's a level of awareness, and there's also a level of inner perception cleansing itself with what we are seeing outside. So this acceptance and awareness coming together to cleanse ourselves are going to create this harmonious waves that are going to connect with all the other like-minded people to manifest what perhaps we might be looking for, be it a job, be it a promotion, be it the materialistic pleasures, a house, a car, money, whatever it is that we are trying to desire is trying to manifest at this higher level of acceptance. There is the other level that perhaps we can achieve with a lot more commitment and effort. Maybe we will, we should wish. And that is a subconscious state, right? That is the highest level of human consciousness or the awareness that is possible. That is automatically aligned with our state of the higher elevated state, which is the superconscious state, irrespective of our official, personal, social commitments or our physical limitations. So when we look at somebody like Adi Shankara, or when we look at somebody like Ramana Maharshi, or many of the other enlightened souls, that means they are at the subconscious state. Without they knowing, without they having to be aware of who they are already connected with the external world. They're already in sync with the reality of life. They're already in real terms with their inner perception and outer realities being in sync at all times, right? So therefore, when we look at these levels of state of mind, how does this awareness through acceptance bring change to our life? There is something that is very interesting in this that we all have to come to terms with. Our behavior. Our behavior typically in the normal state of mind comprises of two components. One, for anything that is happening in our life, our response can be twofold. Either it is a reactive response, or second, it's an observed response. For example, if our friends are telling us something and we don't like it, our instant reaction is going to be, I don't like it. What you're saying is totally wrong. I'm not agreeable to this. So that's a reactive response. So in an argument, we're always in a reactive state of response. So that means you know what your level of success is going to be. Your level of success is going to be a shot. When you put on the dart, it might be successful or it can't be successful. Now, when you are at a level of awareness with acceptance, and when you're in observed state of response, you will start to think whether it's meaningful. Why did this person react? Why did he make that statement? Why did she have to give this to me? What have I done? Probably when you start introspecting, oh, maybe because of that reason, when we spoke, I perhaps should not have used this particular word or this particular sentence, which must have observed, that she must have observed. And that is what is coming back today. So now you see how our behavior changes to every life event that we are observing that is coming towards us. We accept it with the level that we need to accept it, or reject it for that matter. If it doesn't resonate with us, we just kind of reject it and move on. So our behavior changes. So that is a very important trait that we need to understand, that our level of awareness brings us to the level of responses that we give back. So when you look at acceptance being unconditional for the greater good, it also means that we are expected to respond in a more observed manner to any situation. And when you are observed, let's look at the difference between a conditioned mind and an unconditioned mind. A conditioned mind is restricted. That means you put conditions. I want a job, but I want so-and-so job. I want so much of salary, and I want it in so-and-so place. So you have already conditioned your mind. But when you are unconditional in saying, look, this is who I am, these are my strengths, this is what I can do, this is how I can commit, you opened ourselves to the unconditionality, which means there are endless possibilities. That means there's abundance that is waiting to come to you. And we all know that energy will always flow through the path of least resistance. So if you are unconditional, you are beginning to invite what you have been dreaming, what you have been aspiring, right? So we have covered very, very important life subscriptions. There's one more point that I want to touch upon, or probably I will realign it with one or 2 points. The last point, or the last but one point that I want to touch upon is gratitude. Gratitude is a word that is oftentimes understood or understood very little. The word thank you has one meaning. It means an appreciation. A thank you means it's an appreciation. But when you're grateful, it is much more than expressing your profound way of offering, the immense way of your soulful expression to say, I can't tell you how good I am, how good I am for the things that you have done for me. If there's a way that I can reciprocate, I would be more than happy to give that back to you someday. That's gratitude. So therefore, it is important for us to understand that gratitude means a lot more of acceptance coming our way, that we will give back to the society at large when the opportunity comes. So anytime somebody does something for us, let's be grateful. very, very grateful. Let's be very, very grateful. It is important for us to express that to the world outside. The more grateful we are for the things that are coming at us, the more we have an ability to act or react or accept it or reject. And last but
Exactly.
not the least, say sorry if you believe soulfully if you have done something unintentionally or intentionally, which means when you say sorry or an apology, your restrictions go away, they fade away. That means you are inviting the various possibilities. There might be some reason or the other when we remove our ego from within that I'm not going to apologize because I didn't make a mistake. That's all right. That's okay. Life is for a finite period of time. We came into this uncertain world not knowing who we are going to be. We are going to go to another uncertain world. Between this, let's find the certainty that we can be who we can be. So let's not have a baggage and say, this is not what who I am. That's all right. So the moment we start changing our life subscriptions, we start bringing the endless possibilities into our cocoon of things. And I want to give you, I don't know whether time permits for me to give you more examples or not, but I will return this opportunity back to the chair and tell one beautiful message to say that nothing in this world has any meaning till we have an appreciation for who we are to ourselves than to the world. So let's try and discover ourselves, who we are, and the world will automatically discover who we are to her, right? So therefore, with this opportunity, I certainly want to thank the institution immensely, and I'm so grateful for making this happen. And I'm sure the larger good will come in the lives of all of us. Thank you very much.
Uh, Thank you, Mr. Mohan. Mr. Raviram Mohan, you touched upon very important aspects like commitment, awareness, gratitude. So many it's very deep uh, speech about the values, human values and ethics. Now, I request Mr. Chandru. Do you have any questions with you, Mr. Chandru?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. A few. I think 2 to 3 questions.
Okay, please ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very inspirational and informative speech. I think generally we know the people are not ready to take any advice from anyone. But I would like to register here. I am damn sure that the people will definitely accept and follow the advice if that advice will be given by you only, because you are such a humble and polite person. The speech you have given was like breezy, so everyone admire you. So likewise, here we are collected some questions from the participants, but due to lacking of time consumption, we have selected very few among them. Kindly share your ideas about that, sir. Please. The first question: why we are in need of human values, and what is the importance of human value for present lifestyle?
Okay. As we touched upon, um, the life values that I spoke about: commitment, awareness, acceptance, our human response, our gratitude.
Gratitude.
These are fundamentals to, irrespective of which generation we come from. It doesn't matter whether we are toddlers, we are young children going to school, or we are at our prime. It is important for us to understand what life is bringing us because of the way we have all been brought up. And post-COVID situation, especially now, everybody is in this panic mode. What is going to happen to us? Are our jobs safe? Are we going to be trying more in terms of to make our ends meet? How are we going to fulfill our EMIs? So on and so forth. Various things that come to our mind. These fundamental elements, when you keep that in mind and when you're in the constant state of observance, will give you the life opportunity. COVID is today. Similarly, COVID was there 100 years ago. Everything else also was like that. Financial troubles were there. Even now, financial troubles are there. Happiness has been there before. It continues to be there. It all depends on how we perceive our mind to be in sync with the reality that is happening outside. If we are in constant state of observance, life will give you feelers. It will also give you pointers. It will give you reminders. It will also tell you that you need to come out of your cocoon. Again, let's go back to that example that I cited of the college admission. When you came to the college admission, everybody was strangers. Today you have a cocoon of friends that you hang out with, your weekend parties with, right? So you start getting into this cocoon of comfort. World is not like that. When we have desires to manifest, the desires of manifestation is going to test our inner resilience, our inner way of accepting what is coming towards from somewhere else. Our commitment to those external values is what is going to give our internal results for the desires and all the luxuries or whatever else that we might be seeking to manifest. So it's an element of, so unless a pollination for a plant happens from a bee, similarly, unless you're able to receive something else from outside, your internal manifestation is not going to happen. So therefore, even in the current state of post-COVID situation, we all need to come out of those comfort zones that we all been living under. Therefore, the elements that we touched upon are the life subscriptions. Keep them as a cheat sheet of your comfort, as our comfort, as the way we need to lead our life, and we will not have any kind of problems. When I say any kind of problems, to the degree that anybody else would perhaps undergo at the level of consciousness that we spoke about, at the normal level of consciousness, or at the superconscious level that we are all now tuned to because of this awareness. And together, perhaps we could also reinforce and head to the subconscious state of mind to sync with the outside reality. I hope I resonated with that question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your answer for that. And the next one, what would we do if we will get negative command and reply when we do ethically everything?
Good question. I don't know how much time we have. I want to share a life experience here. It's a very beautiful, thought-provoking question. Negative things will come as part and parcel of our life. And here's an example. When we moved back from the US, we were looking for opportunities that would take us along on the day-to-day basis. And there was an opportunity that came to me to get the smart card based driver's license. Now today we are all using our driver's license, it's all smart card based. And I'm talking about 10 years ago about this opportunity. This opportunity came to me from another friend of mine. So the organization was looking for somebody to partner with in order to do this business throughout India and specifically for a few states. Let me not name the states or the companies, but I will be very generic in the way it is. And so this was about issuing 1 crore of driver's license and 1 crore of the RC book, as we call it. for the vehicles. And so therefore, the opportunity was 2 crore cards to be issued within a specific period of time. And we found an organization that would take up this responsibility. And this was a publicly listed organization. They were willing to partner, and we said, great, let's put things together. And this agreement was structured based on Singapore, organization mediating this whole thing, making things happen. And having done all this, whoever were part of the mediation team were eligible for a certain benefit. And the organization, which is publicly listed company, said, we can't pay anything up front. Okay, we said, okay, that's a huge amount of money that if we have to. Let's, for example, take 1 rupee as your benefit, which means 2 crore card, 2 crores as your benefit for the mediation team that needs to happen, right? I'm just citing as an example. And they said we can't pay upfront. So as and when we keep issuing these driver's licenses from the money that we get from the people, we will give you. And we all said, okay, fine. And so we know that for keeping our ends on a month-to-month basis, there's a planning that is required. So we have all planned that X amount is going to come per month. So we can plan our life. So these are the things that we can do and all that. So the money started coming one after the other. And after about 6 months, the whole thing stopped. Now, all of a sudden, there's a financial crunch. So what do? So we try to talk to the people who are doing this project together and say, why did this stop? I said, we don't want to pay you anymore. That's not what has been agreed. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's not what has been agreed. If you want to go and fight in the court. I said, that's not ethical. That's not value. And that's not your commitment. I said, okay, that's who we are. We can't do anything about it. Now imagine in the same situation, even in today, in the COVID-19 situation, you have an employment contract. You have a work to do. And all of a sudden you're given notice, maybe not. You said, that's all it is. Walk away, pack your bags and leave. Now, all of a sudden you come into this constraint. So how do you deal with the situation? Exactly the same way that I explained to you. We try to do the best we can to influence, but then there are certain things that we need to accept and move on. And mark my word, whatever we do, whatever we feel, life is a history. Life is going to repeat itself. It is going to happen. So what is the state of affairs today? The publicly listed company has gone bankrupt. The courts have intervened, removed the board, constituted a new board. When we gave that project, the share value of that company, the 10 rupee share value was over 1,000 rupees. Today, it is not even worth 1 paise. That's what happens. So this is what happens when you are in a negative state or a negative situation. Deal the best you can under the circumstances. Keep yourself open to whatever help, resource that is coming your way from your friends, from your relatives, from your neighbors, whoever are they. That's why I said observance. You never know when you speak your mind to the world and say, I'm in this problem, I don't know what to do. The world will come to your doorstep to help in whatever form or fashion. It will not be like a huge overflow, but certainly will give you the amount of comfort to tide over that crisis and to give you the next opportunity where you can be much more comfortable. That's my response to you. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Next one, what are the effective ways to instruct the human values and ethics among the students community?
Very, very beautiful question. In fact, this is the next trend. If there is something greater good going to happen, this is the next trend of life cycle. Various teachers, educational institutions, corporates are all coming together. There's already schools in Bangalore. There are schools in Melbourne in Australia. There are schools in Europe that have already started talking about these concepts that I've already touched upon. Because the students are like the mold of clay. You can mold them the way you want them to be molded. When you start inculcating these habits to the students, it's okay. Be aware of what is coming. Be aware of what your friends are saying, but your individuality is your individuality. You need to think that through and see what resonates best within you to make things happen. Kids will always be kids. Kids are amazing human beings who can shape because they're unconditional. They will accept anything that you say as the value system. When you say, don't do this, the kids won't question you. At times they question, but when you tell them the reasoning behind this, they will accept it. Similarly, when you inculcate these values to say, this is who you are, this is how you need to be, this is what is happening to you, when you say these same points, commitment, it doesn't matter whether you're going to be a success or a failure. Have you attempted it? Do you feel good about having attempted it? Do you know that you have done your best? Do you know that these results are indicating that you can improve? That means you have a way to acknowledge, you need to be grateful in terms of what else that you can perceive as the next opportunity to be. So therefore, when you are conducting various kinds of workshops, say for example, outside of the college, when you go to the neighborhood of this particular college, you see the various people that are there, people who are trying to do various activities, right from maids to software professionals to industrialists. Try and talk to them, spend a few minutes of their time understanding what their issues are, what their problems are. Perhaps you will have an appreciation of what is with you. And perhaps when you resonate that to the kids and say, this uncle doesn't have this, but we have this. But look, we don't have this, but the other people have. So therefore, it's about give and take. It's about mutual respect. It's about making the greater good happen by sharing these resources together. We can all come together to make a better world on our own. So when we say these kinds of topics, when we share these kinds of profound knowledge, not as so profound as what we are describing, but in very simple elementary terms like stories, the kids will grasp that. They will be better humans. We got this opportunity now at our stage of our life. Let's make them to be better human beings so that they will resonate these thoughts to the world at large. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And the last one, did the peoples are aware of ethics and human values nowadays?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everyone is aware. It's just that it is hidden within all of us. At that right moment of time, it will come out. It only takes one trigger for somebody to come to terms that I also have that specific knowledge or that wisdom within me. And today I've realized it. Every one of us have. We are all born with those. It's just that we have not been brought in that style of functioning. But today, when we are practicing this as part of our everyday life, try saying, I'm grateful to all your friends who wish you good morning. Try saying thank you to all your teachers. Try saying, go and give a hug to the mom or the dad and say, you made this happen for me. I'm who I am because of you. You know how immensely soulful you will feel for that day? When you do this on and on, when you do this every day, you should go back to your mom and say, Mom, that day when you cooked that dish, probably I was in a different mood. I said things that I should not have said. I'm so sorry for it. It will make you a different human being. It will make you a different person. When you do this over and over again, Your awareness to the things that are constantly coming your way will change your belief system. Mark my word, I'm living through that. I'm learning it. I've shared this with you today. I hope it certainly resonates and makes all of us to be a better and beautiful human beings than what we already are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind response for all the questions. In the beginning, like you said, everyone have the reasons to be being here. I hope the participants might know the reason why they have been here. Thanks for your breezy delivery of speech. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome. Thank you.
It was an excellent description of value, which we have not come across so far, because we simply mean that value is say good morning, good afternoon, give respect, take respect to this and that. But it is, you gave a very deeper meaning, like commitment, awareness, gratitude, gratefulness, so many things. It was excellent, Mr. Ravi Mohan. Very, very excellent. Now, I request Dr. Sridevi, IQAC coordinator, to propose a vote of thanks for this wonderful speech. Mahalingam.
Sir, I think her connectivity lost. Yeah.
She is coming, madam. She is coming. She is coming, madam.
Just wait.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, meanwhile, I'll give a few words. Sir excellently explained about the pendulum of a mind. The mind keeps moving to and fro. That's really excellent, sir. And it's really excellent, and it's coming out from the bottom of heart. So I think all our faculty who
Hello?
joined her would have been benefited by today's session. Let's wait for Dr.
Hello?
Sridevi 1 minute to give a vote of thanks.
Sir, முடிய போகுது சார் கொஞ்சம் சாரி சார்.
Mahalingam, Dr. Mahalingam, please begin.
Sir, I think yes, sir. I'm here, sir. I think Sridevi madam has some connectivity problem. She has some connectivity problem, sir.
Oh, so Dr. Udayala madam, you please give
yes,
this
sir. Yes, sir.
vote of thanks.
Sure, sir. Dr. Raviram Mohan, really, your life experience made us realize a lot of values, and a person who follow ethics will never ever let down by anyone, which we understood from your project leadership, where you got a project for months together and you have completed that, which shows really the person who give value for their own values will really come up in life. People don't give a trial for that. So once they give a trial, they will really enjoy that, being in the value side and ethics side. So you have been excellently explained many things about the calming mind, calm your mind, you'll be elevated to any designation or any position. So all those values, I think today our faculty have enjoyed with your life experience and the values which you have brought out from your bottom of heart. Showing gratitude, I like more than giving a welcome, sir. As you said, gratitude is the major thing which make everyone grow, because the positive vibration which we get from others, that really make us grow. It's again, I have one more selfish motto there, but the thing is like gratitude. Showing gratitude is really a great thing, sir. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, Dr. Vairamani, sir, and proceed with your proceedings now.
Now you have to just propose vote of thanks
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
on
Completed
behalf of the
my
manager.
vote of thanks to him. Yeah, I thank him a
Okay,
lot for
okay.
this. Yeah.
Now Dr. Mohan.G. Dr. Mohan.G. just to
Yes,
present
sir,
the
I'm here.
certificate.
Yes.
Certificate of appreciation to Dr. Ravi Mohan.
Respected sir, this is your appreciation certificate from our management, sir. Please accept, please.
I wholeheartedly and gratefully accept this
Hello.
certificate that has been presented to me. Thank you so much, and I'm extremely grateful.
Thank you, Ravi Mohan.
Thank you, one and all.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, one
Sir.
and all. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye, Mohan.
Thank you. Thank you. Very humble. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you,
For a
madam.
wonderful session.
Okay, madam.
Giving a
Thank you.
wonderful session for IQAC. Thanks a lot.